going to give it a minute to notify everyone. As you are coming into the room, please drop where you will be tuning in from. Let me introduce myself. I am Kimberly Clark. I am a lifestyle coach, consultant, and course creator of Ask Kimberly Lifestyle and Level Up with AKL. This evening, we are doing a part 4 of Let's Talk About It, Legacy. What does legacy mean to you? So I do have a special guest. Let me invite them into the room. Okay, so I have invited them into the room. We're going to give it a couple of minutes. So as you are coming into the room, please drop where you are tuning in from for this live. If you have been on the other evenings, we have gone live every day this week to have the conversation about legacy. And tonight is part 4. Let's see. So I'm going to give it a minute or so to get other individuals in the room in addition to our special guests. Individuals are coming into the room, please let me know where you are tuning in from. And for those who are just joining us, I am Kimberly Clark. I am a lifestyle coach and consultant and course creator of Ask Kimberly Lifestyle and Level Up with AKL. If this is your first time viewing my platform, welcome. As we finish the live, go ahead and chime on over to the post and see what I have to offer. We love to have you over there and welcome you to the platform. So this evening, I have a special guest. For the past 4 days, we have been talking about legacy. What does legacy mean to you? As you're coming into the room, you could just place it in the comments alone. But this evening, we're discussing perennials. Perennials is the new word for our seniors, our elderly. You know, as you reach 50 or over, that is a term that you will start to think, okay, what would I like to be called when I reach that point in life? Um, Even when you turn 50, believe it or not, I'm over 50. But as you reach that milestone, you start to think and how you act, how you position yourself, you know, in your day to day. You may have little small ailments that start to happen with your body, but it really is dependent on you. And it's up to you to set the boundaries of what you would like to be called because, hey, 50 is the new 30. So and so on as it goes up. It's still the new 30.
Definitely.
So, Dr. Nakeisha, I am so glad to have you on. You are going to be part of our November 4th Masterclass series as our expert, our physician expert. Please introduce yourself and let the individuals know who you are and what you do.
Okay, awesome. So thank you so much to Coach Kim for having me here, and we are looking forward to being there on November the 4th. Shout out to my wonderful assistant, Miss Anna, who is already on the live. So I am, as Coach Kim says, a what you call a geriatrician. And in simple terms, the way you think of the doctors that take care of the babies, you call them pediatricians. I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum, the aging spectrum. So they call me a geriatrician. What makes me a little bit different from your regular family doctor or your regular internist is I look a little bit deeper. So I look at the heart disease, the diabetes, and so forth, the strokes and the cancers. But I also look at, how is this going to affect that person's ability to have a good quality of life? I look at other things that sometimes other people may not have the time to look at, like, are they falling? Is the home safe? Do they have the right caregivers? Can we stop medication? So I'm the person that kind of does that extra fine tuning, so that I call them my sassy seniors, so that I can keep my sassy seniors at home as long as possible. So in a nutshell, I am a geriatrician. They call me the Jerry Godmother. I always loved older people. I think because I grew up around my grandmother, and my parents are older. So my parents would always say, "You have a very old soul." So I just really enjoy what I do, and I just love teaching. I believe knowledge is power, and so I see the difference in people who have knowledge when they enter the medical system, and those that don't, and it can mean the difference between life and death. And I've seen that firsthand. And so my thing is, I gotta get the word out, because I always tell myself, like, what if that was my mother? Would I want this to happen to her? So that's why I'm always like, learn, learn, learn. Talk to your doctors and ask questions. So in a nutshell, that's me.
Wonderful. Well, I know you completely, and I am just enthralled with you and your platform and what you do. And we'll get into more of some of the offerings you have. Today is a sneak peek and for our platform to ask questions and kind of see what we are planning for November 4th.
Yeah.
Now, November 4th will be our part one of our masterclass series for Perennials. Secure your lifestyle, safeguard your finances. And this is something for all the experts who are part of part one. It's a 4-part series. We will have one every month so far. And we'll update you. But for right now, it's November 4th. It will be at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, an hour and a half. The last 30 minutes will consist of Q&A. But this is a passion project for all of the experts who are on part one, and many of some of the other experts that I have on some of the other series as well. It may be a personal testimony that we had with a family member or someone, or we see something outside. Dr. Nakeisha, this is something that she does every day. So, of course, she sees a lot of different things, which we will tap into this evening. But this series is going to be, one, it's complimentary. So you can't afford to not make the investment, because why? It's free. So you definitely have to be there. But we're going to talk about securing your doctor. We're going to talk about finances. We're going to talk about Dr. Nakeisha is going to address today a little bit on elder mistreatment, but we're going to talk about financing, security, legal issues, estate planning. I mean, we have so much information that is going to go into this series, which is why we had to add 4 parts to it. So if you have elder parents, grandparents, maybe a sibling, if you are a doctor, if you are in the medical field, we all have someone who is over 50, and you should start making these decisions now as early as possible. Even though we are addressing perennials, this event is for anyone even under that. So you should start having the conversations with your family. This is something that I have been stressing all week. It is an uncomfortable conversation for sure, but you have to sit down with your family members, especially if you have a lot of siblings. Who's going to be in charge? Who's going to make those decisions? Really important. So this evening, I'm want to touch on a couple of questions I want to ask Dr. Nakeisha. And if you have questions as you are coming into the room, or maybe you are watching the replay later, you can still comment on this post. We will post it to my platform. And as you watch it, if you have questions, just post your question within the comments so we can answer it. So, Dr. Nakeisha, please let me know, what is important for you to get out to your target audience during this masterclass?
So that's a really good question. I think one of the biggest misconceptions I think that you alluded to, Kim, is that people think that when they hear like planning and legacy, they're like, oh, I could always do that. That's something that's going to happen later on. Me being a single woman and realizing I don't know what the future holds for me, I'm looking now at the way, my parents are going through their aging process. There's now this whole group of people, this movement called the solo agers. So these are people who, may not have a lot, they may not have offspring or next of kin close by. So it's really important for, people in this particular category to really start thinking of, if something should happen to me, like what plan do I have in place? So it's long gone are the days, and you see the times in which we're living right now where nothing is really promised. Days aren't promised right now. So this is really timely because it is for the young professional. It is for the young mother of children, because anything can happen. So I think for me, the target audience is not just, you were thinking, oh, it's for Grammy or it's for my auntie or whatever. No, it's for you as well, because it lets you start thinking like, this is them in 2023, but who's to say, what could happen to me, God willing, years from now. So I wanted to actually expand the target from being people over 65 and being caregivers to even younger people that want to kind of, get their lives in order and, what to do from a medical perspective. And these are lessons that I learned through, I kind of cheated, and I learned from watching my patients and watching what did not work, but also watching like, wow, what worked. Like you could see people who started to plan and who made changes in their lifestyle and their habits, and they're reaping the benefits of it now. So I wanted to open it to people not just over 65, but people, I would say even from 20s and older. And actually, let me ask you, Coach Kim, do you know when technically at what age, our brain, they would say our brain starts aging, or we start aging? That's my little trivia.
No, I know you know that. Share it.
Unfair, but yeah. So actually, when I tutor or talk to my students, we actually tell them at age 30, that's when quote unquote aging really begins. And I'm sure if you go speak to some 30-year-olds, they're like, oh no, it's too soon. But from age 30, that's when we really start to see the changes in aging on a brain level. So you don't have to wait till you're 65. You should start having conversations now and thinking about these things.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing that. And you're right, as you're saying that 30. This is a personal revelation, but maybe you can address this. I think it all depends on the individual and how active their lifestyle is. How, as far as if they have people around them, if they have a lot of family members, they're, on the go, they have a very busy job, they're very healthy, they're working out, they're making appointments for their doctor, they're eating their vegetables and vitamins and, all of that. I think now for me, when I was 30, I was very active, just very, very busy. So I didn't have time to process anything. And this is funny. One thing my grandmother used to always say to me, even when I was young, so in junior high, put a sweater on. It's freezing outside. And you're like, no, I'm not cold. I'm not cold. I'm fine. Put something on. Even now it's super hot here today, but I don't have any sweater on, I'm strapless. That's always been me. But I have noticed, I thought about like my Nana was right as I got older, because even when you're younger, and you could probably touch on this, even when you're younger and you don't wear sweaters or cover yourself up and For other people, it may be cold, but for you, it may be hot. But as you get older,
Yeah.
do you feel that people start having, oh, I just drew a blank.
It's okay.
I have a lot of muscle spasms, and I
Mm-hmm.
think it's because of that in my earlier years. And it's in my neck and my shoulders, and
Mm-hmm.
I get them quite a bit, and they come out of nowhere sometime. And
Mm-hmm.
I tell people, as you get older, you'll start
Yeah.
to notice different parts of your body that is not working properly. Why
Yeah.
your knee goes out when you're just walking. I've
Yeah.
fallen down once before, and I swear somebody kicked me, but nobody was there. But
Right.
that happens. Like,
It
you
does.
didn't trip over anything. What do you say about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that if I always tell people it's you either pay now or you're gonna pay later, but you will pay. So if you make the investment now, and full disclosure, Coach Kim, like sometimes my parents will say, "Oh my goodness, this lady is the biggest hypocrite." So full disclosure, I will, sneak and have my little snacks and stuff, but I've seen the difference that trying to create a healthier lifestyle does
Mhm.
makes for you. So as you get older, and I know for myself, we do a lot of desk work. We're constantly on these cell phones. Even right now, doing this live, I'm trying to look up at this phone. So a lot of times, years and years of that. We're in this age now where
Mhm.
people are developing the big fancy term for it. Sometimes we'll get headaches in the back of the neck
Yeah.
that go behind the eyes. They call it occipital neuralgia. So a lot of the ergonomics and the desk work and using of the phone that used to have a lot of I used to feel a lot of the effects of that, like to the point
Mhm.
where 2, 3 years ago I'd have a lot of neck pains and eye strains and so forth. And of course I was like, oh, it's fine, it's okay, whatever. And again, just like your grandmother, my mother's whip, it's like, yeah, you're a doctor, but you need to, take some time out and really relax your neck muscles. And I was like, yeah, mommy, yeah, I got this. I got this. I'm Dr.
Mhm.
Nakeisha, I got this. I wish I listened to my mother
Right.
because I eventually, the pains were getting so bad that I had to really, take off the hat and really do an inventory on myself and realize that I was
Mhm.
really having a lot of neck strain. So I ended up joining a gym, and I will tell you not, that was one of the best investments. I would hear people say, oh, you don't have to do that right now, whatever, or why are you doing that? But I really go there honestly, and it has changed my life. The headaches that I used to have, the neck strain, the eye strain, and so forth, it has improved remarkably because you're just getting
Mhm.
that blood flow and the circulation to the
Right.
muscles, and so you're more effective on your job. You sleep better, your mood's
Mhm.
better, and they're giving us some nice little dance moves. In my class, I have some sassy seniors and they keep me on my toes in the dance routine. So I would say
Yeah.
investing in your health pays off in the end. Even when I
Absolutely.
see the seniors who come to the office, you could always tell the ones who are pretty active. I mean, they're walking, they have good arm swing,
Mhm.
they are walking at a pretty good pace. And you could always ask them like, hey, what do you do outside of coming to my visits? And these are clearly the people, oh, I walk, I go to the food store. I have some of them that are so creative. They go and they walk the mall. I was like, that's so smart.
Right.
Because, of course, they don't want to be the victim or target of, any
Mhm.
mistreatment. So they have to go where people are. So I have some of them that'll walk the malls and go together as a group. And I think that's so brilliant. But these are the ones that are active. They truly are the ones, if you do not move it, you will lose it. And they are keeping their mobility. So I would say,
Right. Oh,
I know I'm going on and on. Did I answer your question?
absolutely. And I am living it. So I completely
Yes.
understand. And, you know, two things that I want to touch on. One,
Mhm.
you kind of talked about, I'm grateful that I have a great physician that listens to me.
Yes.
And when I say something is wrong,
Yes.
they really look into it. It's like, your body, and
Ooh.
yeah. I turned 55. And a lot of people
Awesome.
cannot believe it that, but I'm
Yeah.
starting to feel stuff. I'm starting to feel things happen. So please
Yeah.
share with our viewers,
Hmm.
what would you recommend? Like one of the top things you would recommend for individuals that maybe they're seniors and they don't have family. They don't
Oh,
have like really any family, anybody around to help them. Maybe they have friends, but all
yeah.
their family is gone. How would you tell them to deal with a doctor and different things that they have going on with their bodies?
Oh, that's a really good one. And I see that a lot because a lot of people have moved away from their family members. So you got people that have moved away to war.
Mhm.
People who they're the empty nesters. Children are in different parts of the country and even international. I always tell people it's important to build your social network. Um,
Mhm.
and it can be the people that you pretty much come in contact with daily, which you may not even realize that you
Mhm.
really need them. But you don't, the beauty about it is not to wait for the emergency to happen. So, look at that neighbor that's been on that corner with you for at least 10, 15
Mhm.
years. You all kind of talk and wave at each other. Like this is the time now, if you are a solo, that term solo ager, to start,
Right.
opening up to like people in your community, in your neighborhood, obviously people you trust,
Yes.
and then people in certain civic groups. So, obviously the big place where we get together is at church. So, and let's say something to people. The average person is willing to help you, but you have to say something. I know sometimes the biggest thing that my savvy ones tell me, Doc, I do not want to be and y'all can fill in the blanks in the comment section. I'm sure everybody has heard that from
Mhm.
their parent or their loved one. I
Burden.
do not. You got it. I do not want to be a burden. And so they're so sweet, but they'll suffer in silence. And if people only knew, they'd be willing to help. So my advice would be, speak up. If it be somebody that is in your neighborhood, let them
Mhm.
know if they can help you. Try to find ways where you can, if transportation is an issue for you, there's some little hacks and tricks that I tend to share. Find pharmacies that do delivery. There's like
Mhm.
certain CVS pharmacies will deliver. Certain pharmacies will mail. We call express scripts, and different pharmacies will actually deliver
Mhm.
your medications to you. They have different delivery systems. So there's so many ways that you can really plan, but you have to, think about it and discuss these things with your doctor.
Right.
Because doctors tend to have a lot of resources. And if we don't know the answers, like I know myself, I will pick up the phone and call because I want to learn it too. And I want to know for the next person how to get even better in that,
Right.
like that interdisciplinary planning.
Thank you for answering that. And that's what I love about you, that even though you are an expert and a professional in your field, you continue to invest in yourself to learn